Once again, good afternoon from Portugal. My name is Vanessa. I'm here today as Vice President of PAIR. PAIR acts here as a private association that is dedicated to defend applicants' interests, not only Golden Visa program, but also in all the other residency programs. But namely today, we are going to address some updates that arise within the Golden Visa program, namely during a meeting held between PAIR and AIMA. So we are going to address that specific information that was presented during that 3 hours meeting. In our association, we decided to do this webinar, and we first of all thank to Thomas from Nomad the opportunity here to share this information. Also because we feel that we are going through a sensitive period in terms of political proposals, legislations amendments, and also processing time. So we want also to use this session today to reassure all the industry, all the applicants, investors, family members that, of course, we are here to act in favor of the program, to be here some sort of support that you can find in what concerns this instability that is being caused by the latest, for example, proposed amendments in the law. So I'm also a co-founder and partner of Prime Legal. Perhaps some of you know, I am also an immigration lawyer working with the Golden Visa program since the beginning, since end 2012. So we are highly engaged to the program and also to the industry. So first of all, I would like to explain a little bit further who we are. So PAIR is called Portuguese Association of Immigration, Investment and Relocation. PAIR was incorporated in 2020. We are a private Portuguese associated that is dedicated to valuing, defending, promoting and training in the areas of immigration, investment and mobility in Portugal. So if you go to our website, you will find a lot of information about us, what are our goals, also some information about Portugal. And of course, if you want to support the association, you can always become an associate. And then, of course, to receive information, you can visit our website, it's pair.pt, or to contact us by email. Okay, you'll find email here in the presentation, and you also find a form that you can fill out to request the contact, and then we will of course get in touch with you in order to inform what would be the steps required to become an associate. This is of course very important to us as well, because as a non-profit organization we need as much as support as possible. So feel free to reach out in case you have any additional questions. So I would like also to highlight one important thing. Although I am an immigration lawyer, I do have a lot of my clients here present today to attend this session. All of you that are already in the program, you already appointed lawyers and you have legal representatives. So it is not my goal here today to substitute that legal advice. And I highly recommend each one of you to seek any further information or clarification in case that is something that is addressed today. That is, of course, we don't have time to analyze everything today. So please contact your lawyer, your legal representative, and ask for a specific guidance in what concerns your application. To say that PAIR is also composed by a lot of lawyers in Portugal, so we also represent them. Okay, so I'm here today not only as an immigration lawyer myself, but acting also on their behalf as associates of the organization. Okay, so today I'm trying here to transmit some information that was made available during this session. Okay, so the meeting with AIMA was held in July, in the end of July, and this was very important for us because since we incorporated the association, the communication with AIMA and previously SEF was very, very difficult to handle. So we found very, very difficult to reach out to them to schedule meetings. And for the first time with this administration of the Golden Visa Department, the door was opened for discussion, for clarifications, and also for inputs from both sides. So this is the first note that I want to give you. So the management team behind the Golden Visa Department right now is composed by members that we feel that are genuinely concerned about the status of the program, and a genuine effort is being executed in order to make sure that the impact of the delays, of the lack of human resources, and also the technological issues that they are going through are reduced. Okay, so I can just say thank you to that management team at AIMA regarding the Golden Visa, for the opportunity also to speak with them. It was a 3-hour meeting where they were more than available to give us all the clarifications that we requested. So in Portuguese, that team is called Unidade ARI. So as you know, Golden Visa in Portugal is named ARI, Autorização de Residência para Investimento. So if you ever see a notification coming from AIMA with this word UARI, it's the team that is managing the Golden Visa program at the Immigration Services. So what we conclude in that meeting is that since the beginning of 2025, it has been a year of restructuring. So there are a lot of proposals presented by that team in order to modernize and to resolve the backlog, which is in fact significant today still. First of all, they separate applicants that are already in the system and the new applicants for the new platform that is going to be implemented, as mentioned, in January 2026. Okay, so the idea here is to launch a new portal where the application will be 100% online, with exception, of course, of the biometrics application. But here the idea is that the process is executed 100% online, and when it's already approved, then the biometrics appointment is issued. In what concerns the old platform that is still working, and we are still on a daily basis submitting applications, we of course are facing some technical issues and still some delays, but they are always trying to address them, and also in communication with us in what concerns those technical problems. So first of all, the news about the new platform, so that will be launched in January 2026, and then also a platform related with renewals. So as you know, permits issued between February 2020 and June 2025, the validity of those permits was extended until the 15th of October this year. But in order to avoid having to issue a new decree of law to extend even further the validity of the cards, they also actively launched a platform that is for renewals. So it's now possible to submit renewal requests not only for the investors, but also for family members. This was also a recent update. Also, a good change is that for renewals, if the biometrics were collected in the preceding 10 years, there is no need for the applicant to be present. And also in specific situations where the biometrics changed because of the age, if it was a baby and now it is already possible to collect the fingerprints, then the applicant's presence will be required. But overall, the appointment can be executed by your legal representative without the need of you coming to Portugal. Of course, that the stay requirements, they need to be fulfilled as normal within the validity of the card. If the card is valid for 1 year, 7 days, and if the card is valid for 2 years, 14 days, both consecutive or not, this will nothing change regarding that. In what concerns final approvals, when I say final approvals, I am talking about clients that already received the acceptance letter regarding the online application and already submitted the biometrics. So for the final analysis and approvals, all the processes were redistributed around the offices in around Portugal. Also with the objective of reducing the processing time. In my law firm, I'm already feeling the impact of this measure as we are receiving more and more notifications of either requesting information or documents that they need to be updated for any reason, or ultimately the final approval. So we are seeing some movement regarding that, and we believe that since the team that is analyzing the Golden Visa applications is increased, so they allocated more people to that team, I believe that we will be starting to feel the impact of that measure as well. As you know, clients without biometrics appointment in the beginning of the year were notified to resubmit the applications. That request was made to, at the end of the day, help the processing of the applications, and also because unfortunately there were hundreds of applications submitted incompleted, and in some cases with pages in blank, which made this request necessary in order for the services to reduce the backlog also within the stage of the online application. So in January, the immigration services requested the resubmission. I believe that all applications still with interest in pursuing the Golden Visa were resubmitted by now. Unfortunately, the information that was presented in January was that the biometrics appointment for those applicants were to be issued during the first semester. Unfortunately, due to a political decision, not only in what concerns the Golden Visa, but also other programs, the allocation of the people, the officers at AIMA were not to the Golden Visa team in the first semester of the year. And this, as I mentioned, was a political decision. So the goal is now to issue those appointments until the end of the year. We are already feeling the impact of this decision and this measure in our practice as well. but slowly. So this means that they are following, of course, a chronological order of submission. So the first applications to be resubmitted, they are receiving now the biometrics appointment. The information that we have, and it was made available in this meeting, is that the services want to issue all the appointments for resubmitted applicants until the end of the year. Of course, knowing that this does not mean that the biometrics appointment will be necessarily in 2025, because as you know, the number of slots are very limited, and this is due, of course, to the lack of human resources necessary to book appointments. And the Immigration Services mentioned that the booking would be executed within 30 to 90 days notice. So by imagining that we receive a notification for the booking in around December, then it can be a client that has a booking around February or March, for example. This is what we are assuming as well. So in what concerns court cases, so the Immigration Services also mentioned in that meeting that unfortunately they also had to allocate some officers in order to analyze the court cases, although there is also a backlog on that side. So they are still processing court cases submitted in 2024 and slowly granting appointments as well. In what concerns the court cases, I must say that from a personal experience, I am seeing now a courts with more strict interpretation in what concerns the urgency of the request. But I would say that if you are an investor or a family that you want to relocate, or you are already physically in Portugal, or you have a medical issue, or you have a specific situation that you really need to be protected against a delay, a court case, of course, would be a good legal mean to solve the situation. But knowing that it is also facing a backlog from that end, not only from the court perspective, but also from the Immigration Services side. Another thing that we are already concerned about is technical issues around processing payments at the ARI platform, so the Golden Visa platform online. So we start to notice some months ago, I believe around March, April, that although the DUC, which is the name in Portuguese for the payment document, although paid, it was not being processed in the system. So we addressed that issue also with AIMA. A lot of back and forth phone calls about this situation, and now slowly they are also trying to fix the problem. We already know that as of July, all DUCs, all payments regarding investors already being settled, and they are slowly also trying to solve that problem for the other months. My suggestion here is, of course, to always file in the client's paperwork the proof of payment, and also in order to avoid missing the deadline of the documents of the family members, to do the upload as soon as it is possible to do the payment of the investors process at the platform, to upload all the family members' documents into the portal, because you will have a date of the upload, which will be the date that it might be considered for the purposes of the validity of the document, since it is only possible to submit the family members after the payment of the investor is processed into the system. Okay, so overall, these were the topics addressed in what concerns more technical issues about the golden visa. We also talked about a lot interpretation of law in what concerns not only the permanent residency, but also family reunion. And also there are some insights that I would like to share with you today. So in what concerns a family reunion, there is a lot of, and this is also a part of the questions that you send me. A lot of people sent me that question in what concerns adult children. So due to the delays, a lot of applicants that added adult children to their applications, they are concerned what to expect in the future in what concerns the requirements. What was mentioned by the coordinator of the team is that the the dependency situation of that adult child is assessed on the moment of the submission of the first application. And in the renewals, no longer need to be presented the same requirement about the study and the single status. This was shocking to us. That was their interpretation, since until now, always the immigration services always confirmed that the dependency requirement for adult children, namely the study in terms of documentation, study certificate and single status certificate, would also need to be presented at the time of the renewal. But as I mentioned in this meeting, also in order to give some sort of reassurance for the investors because of the delays, they mentioned that this evaluation would be executed for the concession of the first residency card, and regarding the renewals, no further evidence of such requirements would be necessary. To be honest with you, also for me, it was very shocking to see that this is now the interpretation, and this is an interpretation coming from the immigration services, since the requirements in the immigration law are not clearly stated. So we would have to expect a study case or some experience with this new interpretation to see that in fact this is the correct way to evaluate the requirements around adults. We also talked about a lot permanent residency, which we will address also in a separate slide, so in a few seconds. So, in what concerns the political proposals regarding the changes in the immigration and the nationality law, I find very useful that today we can once for all clarify that the golden visa, the Portuguese golden visa, is a residency by investment program. This means that the applicant, the investor, by executing an investment that is eligible under the law, can apply for a temporary residency permit. This is what is clearly stated in the immigration law. So the golden visa is ruled by the immigration law. Another thing is the nationality law. And the nationality law says that a foreign citizen that is a legal resident in the country for at least 5 years, and provided that has a clean criminal record and also can prove the knowledge of the Portuguese language, the A2 level, can apply for the Portuguese nationality through that path. Okay, but these are two separate laws. And I find this clarification very important because there is, of course, applicants are very concerned about what is going to happen with the nationality law, and if there are legal expectations to be protected. We believe there are, although the laws are separate laws. We have created, even in the immigration services website, there is that information that it's possible to apply for the nationality by the end of 5 years. So we are in the opinion that there are legal expectations to be protected, and but even though this distinction between two laws, the immigration law and the nationality law, is very important for applicants to understand that when you are doing a program like this, like the Portuguese one, you are seeking, first of all, residency, and residency that ultimately will open the path to the Portuguese nationality. So let's talk about what is happening with this proposed amendments regarding these two laws, the immigration law and the constitutional law. The nationality law. So in around June, the government presented two bills, one to amend the immigration law, another one to amend the nationality law. In both diplomas, we found several articles that, for our understanding, they could be against our constitutional law. And that, in fact, happened already with the immigration law. So the President of the Republic received a diploma that was accepted by the Parliament and sent it to the Constitutional Court that confirmed in August that at least 7 provisions were against the Constitution. So our president vetoed the bill, and the bill returned to the Parliament to be revised. This revision will happen in around the second week of September, when the Parliament resumes discussion, and we will know more about this as well. These amendments to the immigration law do not impact directly the Golden Visa program, but gives, of course, a fresh air in what concerns what, in fact, to expect about the discussions and the voting regarding the nationality law. So, as you probably know, what was proposed in the nationality, the changes to the nationality law, were basically two things. So, first of all, extend the residency time from 5 to 10 years, and for nationals of Portuguese-speaking countries, 7 years instead of 10, and also that the residency clock would start again from the issuance of the first residency permit, and not anymore from the submission date of the application. Also, to add up to the Portuguese language, to the language requirements, also a civil right and a culture test that can also strengthen the link with the Portuguese community. So these were the proposed amendments. So first of all, we find here a lot of issues around these proposals. So I'm not sure if all applicants are aware of these, but the residency clock starting from the submission date of the application was an amendment presented to the nationality law in April 2024. So before that, the residency clock would always start from the issuance of the first residency card. Okay, so that was always the rule. Then the backlog started to be a reality, and in order to protect the clients against this situation, the nationality law was amended in order to change the way that we count the residency time from the issuance date of the first residency to the submission date of the application. Now they want to change it back. So the 7 or the 10 years would start to count from the issuance of the first permit. So this will cause several issues with the current applicants that are waiting for 2-3 years for the outcome of the application. And we believe that even this the difference between 10 years to 7 years for Portuguese-speaking countries also would be against our constitution of law. So what is to say is that there is, of course, a political reason for this proposal to be presented. We are not going to talk about this today, but what we consider is that not only because the immigration law was already analyzed by the Constitutional Court, if the government keeps this wording and keeps the original proposal, most likely the diploma will also be sent to the Constitutional Court. And we believe that there are a lot of issues around the legality of these changes, and also some discussions about legal expectations, as we talked before. So PAIR is actively lobbying regarding these proposed amendments. We already met with some parties. We have meetings scheduled in the next 2 weeks, and we are trying our best to deliver information, deliver proposals that make sense, and also working alongside investment funds, foundations, in order to present stats about the program and facts that can give them, the parties, and also the government, a more clear picture what is involved here and the amount of investment that the Golden Visa already brought to the country. So PAIR is proposing mainly three things. So first of all, that these changes to the time is not that aggressive. We understand some arguments behind the changes in what concerns the Portuguese nationality being accessible. But what we are requesting is, first of all, that between the 10 and 7 years, we can apply the 7 years for all applicants, not only Portuguese-speaking countries. And we are requesting as well a safeguard clause. This safeguard clause is basically to protect pending applicants and clients already with permits issued that can beneficiate from the nationality law applicable at the time of the application, reassuring that any new requirement in these changes would only affect investors and applicants for the future. Although the laws are not directly linked, they have an effect. The changes in the nationality law has a direct effect in the immigration law, namely within the Golden Visa program. So what we are asking is that there is a safeguard clause that can protect these applicants. Again, not only applicants with applications submitted and pending of analysis, but also clients and applicants that they have permits issued, but with less than 5 years in order to apply for the nationality. The third topic that we are also requesting is that there is a transitory period. So we are asking that the law does not enter into force immediately, but in January 2026 for new applicants, giving time for those who are in the process of complying with the 5 years nowadays, that they have time to gather the documents, to organize their files, and ultimately to submit their nationality application. There is a provision in the proposed amendments that this new law, if approved, would be applicable as of June 19. This is, of course, against the constitutional. There is in my opinion, in Per's opinion, and all legal advisors and lawyers that I discussed with this, there is no way that the Constitutional Court is allowing this to pass. So this is clearly a retroactive rule that cannot happen in this specific situation. So what is to expect? I believe that the first Parliament session would be 17th of September. So they will resume the discussion by then. And before that, we also have some meetings scheduled with parties, and namely with a party that is in the government, in order to once again push to the proposals that we have, and then to make sure that they can hear us and they can accommodate the issues around the timeline, the backlog, which are still a reality for the program. So in what concerns the worst case scenario, as I usually explain to my clients, so let's imagine that in fact the nationality law is amended and protecting pending applicants, for example, but then there are clients, or sorry, there are applicants here and investors here that they are starting to consider to apply for the golden visa, and they want to know what they need to expect if in fact the residency time changes from 5 to 10. So the golden visa program always had the answer for that in case that that happened with the permanent residency. So the golden visa program has a permanent residency sub-program attached. So after 5 years of residency, the applicant can apply for the permanent residency that will be valid for 5 years. And for that, the applicant needs to present the sufficient knowledge of the Portuguese language. This was, again, the clarification presented at the meeting with AIMA. Once the permanent residency is granted, in case we are talking about investors, there is no need to maintain the original investment. So, but then the investor needs to wait for the approval of the permanent residency in order to decide what to do with the investment. There are also a lot of questions around family members. So if I, as an investor, apply for the permanent residency, but my family members are not yet able to apply for the permanent residency because there was a delay, or I add them later on. So according to our interpretation of the law, and also confirmed by AIMA in this meeting, a permanent resident holder can still reunify, or to allow the family members to renew their permits as a temporary resident holders. So this means that the investor will become a permanent resident, and attached to his process, the family members will be able to renew it, not, of course, as a permanent resident, because for the permanent residency, again, the main requirements are 5 years of legal residency from the moment that you receive the first card. That did not change. So 5 years from the moment of the first card, and then also the A2 level in the Portuguese language. So then the family members can apply for the temporary residency or to renew it. And as soon as they reach 5 years, then the family member will be able to apply for the permanent residency. Okay, if there are questions around this that you need to clarify, that we are not addressing today, just let me know in the Q&A, or please send an email directly and I will gladly reply. So finally, and before we start the Q&A session, I believe it will be important to have that session because it's easier for us also to try to reply the main questions that you have around these topics. So I also have received a lot of questions around what is a pair role, what is going on, what we are doing in respect to the current situation of the program. So pair, as I mentioned, was incorporated in 2020. We faced, of course, several challenges along the way, and we try always our best to gather as much support as possible, not only from players of the industry, so lawyers, legal representatives, banks, funds, foundations, investors, associations. So we always try to gather as much as associates as possible in order, of course, to be a strong voice, namely regarding the Golden Visa program. So nowadays, our role is mainly the ones that I am mentioning here. So we are trying to do to spread the word in what concerns clarifications and information shared by the immigration services, since they opened that door for that communication. So we are being the bridge between the AIMA management team and the legal industry. We are also presenting proposals to reduce the processing time and bureaucracy, not only to AIMA, but also to the government. And we are strongly collaborating with AIMA to solve technical problems, namely the payment, the processing of payments. And finally, as I already mentioned, we are also actively lobbying the proposed amendments to the immigration and to nationality law as we speak. Okay, so I believe September, it will be an important month in what concerns this topic, and we will definitely share any news and information that we can. So I tried here to summarize, already talking for 50 minutes. So there are a lot of details and a lot of specific cases that I am sure that you want to see clarified. Please feel free to ask here in the Q&A. I will take my time in the Q&A, okay? So for those who already clarified, thank you so much. The intention here today was to share some feedback from the immigration services, because I feel that investors, of course, and applicants, they have the contact with their legal representative, or of course that know what is going on. But I think it's important for you to understand that there is a team behind supporting you and trying to our best to solve the issues around the program. It is not in our benefits to have a program that is up and running, but also for Portugal and for our economy that can continue to beneficiate from the investment that you are bringing to the country. So I will start the Q&A for those that they don't want to stay. Thank you so much again. It was a pleasure. I just leave here a message. So as you probably know, it's me and Sara Rebolo, the president and vice president of the association. So our commitment is exactly what I mentioned. So we will continue to actively contribute to the improvement of the program, acting as a bridge between the immigration services, investors, and legal representatives to ensure clarity, fairness, and long-term sustainability. As the reforms progress, PAIR remains firmly committed to defending the Golden Visa program and safeguarding rights and its investors and their families. We will maintain close engagement with policymakers, closely monitoring legislative developments and actively lobbying for solution and faster legal certainty, efficiency, and lasting success of the Portugal investment immigration framework. So above all, we will use PAIR as your voice. This is a personal message from me and Sara. And again, I really thank you for the time today. I will start now the Q&A, okay? So if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. let me start with the first one. Okay, so one of the obvious advantages of the Golden Visa are the minimum residency requirements. If the proposed change to 10 years wait to citizenship happen, how will that work for Golden Visa holders? What would the options be? So I believe that I replied this by explaining that the Golden Visa program has a permanent residency program available. So if in fact the law the nationality law changes from 5 to 10, then we have to look to the Golden Visa program as a two-step program. So for 5 years of temporary residency and 5 years of permanent residency. In this way, the applicant will be able to comply with the 10-year period. And of course, the good thing about the permanent residency is that is valid for 5 years, although more expensive, of course, but it's valid for 5 years. Very important in what concerns the stay requirements within the permanent residency, the law is not clear, was never clear about that, and we are always requested to the immigration services to clarify that question. So if the applicant needs to test the same stay requirements as the temporary residency program. So this is a legal opinion about this is going to be issued by the immigration services. They are analyzing that situation, and as soon as we have that clarification, we will also share. I'm furious that the new RE applicants are having their visas processed while those of us who have been waiting for many years are still waiting. Promises were made 2 years ago. Okay, I'm not sure what is the meaning of new RE applicants, but there are no RE applicants nowadays. Okay, so you are all in the same boat. The only difference here is applicants that submitted the application online were granted with biometrics appointments and they need to wait for the final approval. And then there are applicants that submitted their online application. They were not granted with biometrics yet and received the request for resubmit in the beginning of the year and are still waiting for that biometrics appointment. Okay, this is basically the only difference nowadays. The new platform that I mentioned in the beginning that is going to be in principle launched in January. As mentioned by AIMA, they will not migrate the old process to this new platform, but being processed by the new platform does not necessarily mean that it will be first by the new platform and then the old one. So their goal is very clear on reducing the backlog with the current platform until the end of the year. So that's why they want to issue all the appointments for pending applicants until the end of the year, and then be in a position to launch the new platform for new cases as of January 2026. Of course, that this deadline, January 2026, is the one mentioned in the meeting, and probably will be extended if the appointments are not issued until the end of the year. But at least this is what they mentioned during the meeting. The applicant doesn't need to stay in Portugal when there is an appointment, neither his passport, of course. So I'm not sure if this question is related with the first application or renewals. Okay, so for applicants that are applying for the first time, the biometrics appointment, the applicant and family members, they need to be physically in person at the appointment, because it will be necessary to collect fingerprints, photo and signature. And of course, to present a valid passport, the original one. For renewals, the new policy is that if biometrics are correctly collected within the preceding 10 years of the renewal request, there is no need for the applicant to be present in the day of the appointment. When the notification for the appointment for the renewal is issued, there is a paragraph related to that, confirming that the applicant is exempt to be present. So your legal representative will have that information to share. What can be done if appointments for minor dependents for renewals were given by AIMA at the same date and time, but in different cities, which can be attended by the parents simultaneously, and there is no possibility to reschedule on any portals? So regarding that question, my advice is to take advantage of the appointments that you are given. Okay, so that is my first advice. And if possible, to have the law firm that is supporting you to go with them separately, that would be a solution. In terms of the documents, it's possible to do it because the investor doesn't need to be present for the children to submit their application. But in that specific situation, I would send a request to that specific immigration office that the booking was made, explaining the situation, that they are underage, and that, of course, that they need to be with at least one of the parents to attend to the appointment. If they not reply, to be honest with you, the email is working. It's not working as we wanted in terms of communication with the investors and lawyers with the Golden Visa team at Immigration Services, but we are seeing more and more communication. Okay, so for specific situations which is justified the request that you are doing to change the appointment because of a specific situation, I would send an email explaining that situation, not only to the email that we use for the immigration services, but also to that specific office where the appointment is scheduled. How many slots are there for biometrics appointment per month? We don't have that information. For people who have just submitted their application for the first time, not resubmitted, what is the approximate timeline we should expect for biometrics? We previously heard that it was 12 to 18 months from the time of the application, but wondering if new processes change to address the backlog has changed the timing. Thank you. So although there are a lot of measures being implemented to reduce the backlog and the timeline, until we are not able to see that the backlog regarding resubmitted applicants was solved, I would advise the same timeline. So between 18 to 24 months of processing time, that will get better as soon as the backlog for the resubmitted applications are solved. This is at least what we addressed in the meeting. The last question that we asked during the meeting with the services is, what can I say to clients? What is the real timeline? What is the worst case scenario? More 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? What can I say? And they specifically mentioned that all resubmitted applications, the plan was to issue all appointments until the end of the year, and from that moment onwards, they would be in the position to launch the new platform and then to try to reduce the backlog in terms of the final approvals, but that is a different issue. And from the moment that the new platform is up and running, then the processing time would be significantly reduced. Okay, so I believe that we have until the end of the year to see what in fact to expect about the improvement of the timeline. Will our submissions be processed before new applications for 2025 are started for processing? No, we don't have that information. We, of course, that it makes sense that the analysis of the online applications are being done by chronological order, not by the date of the resubmission, but the original dates. If it is a client that submitted the application in 2022 and resubmitted in January, and another client submitted in 2024 and also resubmitted, because there are some cases, then of course the one that submitted in 2022 will be the one analyzed first. Okay, that is for sure. So it's possible for individual clients to get access to AIMA portal so we can monitor progress ourselves too, of course. So each investor has credentials to access the portal. So an email and a password. So you can have access to that portal. Of course, the portal is very basic. You don't have like options, or it's just for information, and also it's not possible to change the information that is there. But mainly we use the portal to see if there is a change in the status of the application, and to execute payments and issue the docs, which are the documents with the payment references. How likely do you think the new December biometrics appointment deadline will be met? I already addressed this. I believe, as the Immigration Services mentioned, it will be addressed until the end of the year. I applied for the Golden Visa and I made a payment, but it's still showing as not paid. Okay, I explain you that issue. So there are some technical problems around the payments nowadays, which they are trying to fix, and it might take some time. But for example, in our office, we are seeing that clients are having their payments processed. It can take 1 month or 2 months in some cases, but eventually the payment is updated in the portal. Very important is that you keep the proof of payments, and that you upload the family members' documents as soon as the payment, as soon as you issue the payment and pay the investor, so you can have the date of the upload in order to take advantage of the validity of the documents for the family members, okay? And as soon as the payment is processed for the investor, then it's just to submit the family members and then to pay them as well. Under the nationality law, do you need to be in the country 6 months each year to maintain your living? No. So there is no requirement around living in Portugal in what concerns the nationality law. Just residency, a residency requirement nowadays is still 5 years, and the proof of the knowledge of the Portuguese language and a clean criminal record. We have not hit biometrics or received temporary residency, but yet are being asked to pay taxes on a small amount we have in the bank. Can you advise? Sorry, that is a specific information. I don't have specific information to be able to reply. Do you think that the compromise proposal by Consenso Imigração for a 6-year naturalization eligibility period will get any traction in the parliament? Yes. I think it's one more group doing lobby, explaining why, presenting a solid proposal. So I believe it is only positive that we have that proposal in the table, and I do think they will consider it, at least for a discussion. Also, we are 2 years in and no biometrics yet. What if that drags out for 3 more years due to AIMA resources? Would we still qualify at 5 years? Okay, so what I really need you to understand today is nothing happened yet regarding the nationality. The nationality law valid at this moment is still the one mentioning 5 years from the moment of the submission of the application. Okay, so we of course understand that applicants are very concerned about these possible changes, but we need to remain positive in the immigration law changes that were refused by the Constitutional Court. Open a door also for us to be a little bit more positive that these proposals that for the nationality law will also protect pending applicants. Okay, so I believe that's still room for discussion, and here I can give you two answers. If the bill passes as it is proposed now by the government, of course, that pending applicants will not be protected. And then you have to comply with the things that the government are proposing. So 10 years from the moment that you receive the residency card, which is obviously not the thing that you signed up for when you applied for the golden visa. Okay, so that is the worst case scenario. And of course that we can have that in our heads right now, but let's see what the discussion brings. There's still room for discussion, and I strongly believe that there are some things that the government will compromise. So this is the time for stay tuned and for us to work harder to make sure that all the information and proposals are presented with the government and also the parties, in order also to help to prevent these proposals to be approved. At the end of 5 years of legal residency in Portugal, can one apply directly for citizenship without applying first for permanent residency? Yes, of course. So permanent residency, even in the scenario that the nationality law mentions 5 years, is not mandatory. Okay, so even for clients that they don't want to learn the language, for example, but they want to keep beneficiating for temporary residency, provided that they keep the investment within the golden visa application as a temporary resident, they can keep on renewing the permit for additional 2 years. Of course, that the permanent residency is more attractive because it's valid for 5 years and the investor no longer needs to hold the investment, but it's not mandatory to apply. So the wait to get the first PR will not count at all in your option with the new law. We have been waiting for 2 years. So the waiting to get the first PR, probably the first residency card. Again, as the proposal was presented by the government, the processing time is not going to be counted for the residency time for the nationality. So the worst case scenario that there is no safeguard clause in the law that can protect pending applicants, then the processing time will no longer count for the 5 years or 7 or 10, depending on what is voted. Thank you for all this great information. A lot of what you discuss is for holder applicants reapplying. What is the outlook for a new applicant? I applied 3 months ago. I am going to be waiting years, even though the system is supposed to be automatically assign an appointment. Yeah, so one of the things that I have here in my notes is also to focus a little bit on clients that submitted applications a while ago, or clients that are thinking about submitting applications. So as you can understand, as an immigration lawyer working in the program, I have investors as we speak being represented by us, that they are investing and that they are willing to submit their golden visa application. The most important thing, first of all, is to be aware of what is happening. So you need to be informed, and you need to be aware of the worst case scenario, as I just explained. If the bill passes as it is, what is the timeline that the investor or family will face? In terms of processing time, is exactly what I already mentioned before. So for new applicants, we still have to assume the old timeline, 18 to 24 months. But our hope, and we are positive into belief, that the backlog in what concerns the resubmitted applications will be solved until the end of the year. And from that moment onwards, then all applicants that submitted the applications will be then processed faster. Don't forget that for new applicants that submitted applications after these new rules about the online application, the process will be much faster, because the resubmissions did not, the resubmission rules not only affected pending applicants, but also new applicants. So now applications, they need to be fully submitted online. All the documents related to the application that before had to be submitted upon the biometrics appointment in paper, the documents, they need to be now submitted online, all of them certified by a lawyer, which means that when comes the time for the investor and family members to go to the biometrics appointment, the application is already verified, and that's why now within the biometrics appointment, the approval fee is paid. So basically, we have now two big moments: online submission with a completed file, and the biometrics appointment, where there is no need to present physical paperwork. Of course, that we bring with us all the documents that we submitted online, because sometimes they want to scan something that that is missing, or to check the authenticity of any document, but it's not mandatory to submit those physical paperwork anymore. And also we execute the payment of the approval fees. So provided that there is nothing arises from the security check that then AIMA does for every single applicant, the idea is that after the biometrics, the residency card can be issued within 90 days. What my estimative to clients nowadays is around 6 to 9 months after the biometrics, for clients that already submitted the online application within the new rules, let's say like that, because it might take some time for the immigration services to adjust here the timeline. So this is important for new applicants to understand that these new rules about the resubmissions are not only applicable to pending applicants, but also to new applicants submitting now or in the future. What is the current waiting time for new Golden Visa? I already replied. If the primary investor gets citizenship at the this is a common question. So if the primary investor gets citizenship, but the family member is not language proficient at the time, can the family member renew temporary residency and take the A2 language later? Okay. I usually explain the Golden Visa program, in case there are family members, as a family plan B. Okay, so whenever you are thinking about applying for the Golden Visa, it's important not only that you understand the requirements around the investment, the fees involved, the legal requirements, and the timeline, and etc. But it's also important for the client to analyze what are the options available for that family if you are doing this as a family plan, as I usually call. So if you are a couple that have underage children, and if you have old parents, and the ultimately goal is here to apply for the Portuguese nationality, then you have to look to the Golden Visa program and to match all the applicable rules, taking in consideration the specific situation of your family. Okay, so for underage, as you might know, the nationality path through residency can only be achieved by applicants that are 18 or more. Okay, so only adults can apply. Underage children can apply for the nationality if the parents are already Portuguese, but then they would have to attest some additional requirements regarding connection with the Portuguese community. Okay, so sometimes the better way to see this family plan is to perhaps wait, depending on the age of your children, for them to turn 18, so you can all together apply for the nationality through residency. Okay. So the decision of the investor to apply for the nationality without the family members needs to be analyzed as well, because it's possible for a family member to reunify, um, ask for residency because it is a family member of a Portuguese citizen, but this will no longer be subject to the Golden Visa regulation. So this will require the relocation and additional requirements. Okay, so that specific situation you need to you need to double check with your lawyer to see what makes sense in terms of family plan. Okay. Does the 5-year clock on permanent residency also start from the time the application is submitted? If the nationality law changes, would the permanent residency maintain the 5-year clock from the time of the application submission? No, okay. So for the nationality, as the law is applicable today, is 5 years from the moment that the application is submitted. For the permanent residency, it's 5 years from the moment of the issuance of the first residency card. Okay, so these are two different deadlines. If the main applicant reaches 5 years of temporary residency, applies for permanent, then remove the investment. Meanwhile, his child was added several years after his initial card. That child will have to wait for his own for 5 years temporary residency to pass before applying to his own permanent? Yes. The permanent residency is an individual assessment. So each individual application needs to comply with this both requirements: residency for 5 years, legal residency, and proof of knowledge of the Portuguese language. Does the main applicant have to keep the investment after getting permanent residency if his child still has only temporary residency? No, because one thing is the permanent residency of the investor, and another thing is family reunion rights that can be granted separately, and because the family member is still completing 5 years, then it can be renewed while the investor is a permanent resident. So the way to get the first card will not count. This is already replied, sorry. Once the main applicant has the permanent residency card and liquidate the investment, the dependents later can apply for the PR even though the investment was liquidated. Exactly, I already replied. If you become a permanent resident but you are not a citizen, what would are the restrictions on your travel in the Schengen zone? Would you still be restricted to 90 days in other countries, or you will have more freedom to travel within the Schengen zone? Okay. This is the greatest difference between being a resident and being a Portuguese national: the freedom to live in any other European country. Because as a resident, you will have the freedom to circulate, to travel. But of course, that in order for you to stay more than 90 days in another Schengen country, you would have to comply with that country's specific immigration requirements. Okay? So being a permanent resident will not change that limitation. Nevertheless, if you are a permanent resident living in Portugal and you want to experience living in another European country, you can apply for something that we call a long-term status and then convert temporarily your permanent residency to any other Schengen country, and then come back to Portugal, of course. But this is only for those permanent residents that are currently that are living in Portugal, because then there is a requirement of physical presence. If the amendment is kept the same, 5 years to apply for citizenship starting from online, permanent residency will be counted starting from online. Okay, so if the amendment, no, I think this question has here a typo. If the nationality law remains the same, then in theory, there is no need for you to apply for the permanent residency, because as soon as you reach 5 years, you apply for the nationality. You can do an extra renewal because very important also for you to understand the residency needs to be valid not only at the time of the nationality application, but also at the time of its approval. This also is also confirmed by the civil registry office. So it's always important to have your residency valid during the analysis of the nationality application. Of course, that if you feel the need of having the permanent residency, knowing that it's valid for 5 years, and probably you will not need those 5 years because you are going to be granted with a nationality, perhaps it's cheaper to have an extra renewal for the golden visa instead of applying for the permanent residency. That is a decision, again, that needs to be planned, and depending on the case, the decision between the permanent residency and the temporary residency will depend on the time that the applicant needs to apply for the nationality, but also the need of having a permanent resident in Portugal or not. What is the official and complete list of documents both for investment and dependents for renewal? For this, I would advise you to contact your legal representative that will be able to advise you. I believe you indicated that the biometrics appointment are now being scheduled chronologically based on the date of the application resubmitted earlier this year, not the date of the original application submitted. Is that correct? No. So in principle, the biometrics are going to be scheduled taking in consideration the original date of the submission. Of course, that depending on the time that the investor took to resubmit, perhaps that can be cases that are treated first, depending on the date of the resubmission. But the idea is to respect the original date. That, of course, makes sense. How do I find out if my lawyer is a part of PAIR? You can ask the lawyer, you can check our website, or you can send us an email. Can you please repeat how to support PAIR? Obviously. So if you want to support us, please contact us through our form on our website. It's pair.pt, or send us an email to the email that is here in the presentation, asking to become an associate of PAIR. Of course, that we have a fee, but it's a symbolic fee, and with that fee, we will help to continue the work. But it's mainly through membership. Okay. Of course, that there are some of our members that they support us because they provide us with information, stats, case studies, and etc., which are also always welcome. So if there are investment funds, foundations here today, you can also join us. We do have banks, law firms, accountant firms, funds as members. So we will be gladly receiving your application. How long it's currently taking to receive permanent residency cards? We receive a notice from our final approval in the spring, but not receive our residency cards yet. Final approval, one of us paid the Duke at the biometrics, one of the paid. Okay, so for the residency cards, unfortunately, there is some delay. Okay, so in case you are still waiting for the card to be issued for quite some time, and I would say more than 3 months, and if you already have final approval notification, okay, it's not because you have the biometrics collected that your application is approved. So if you have the notification of approval, asking for the execution of the payment, and if you already did executed the payment, then my advice is to contact the immigration services by email with the proof of payment and requesting information about the issuance of the card, or in person. They also give information to lawyers at the Lisbon office, for example. Thank you for doing this webinar. For a cultural donation route, how long would it take to get from start to submitting the application? For new applicants, it is advisable to apply right away to get a chance to submit the application before the new law comes into effect, or wait until January 2026 to get in on the new portal. This is a good question. So in what concerns the timeline, for the cultural option, a bank account is always necessary in principle. So I would say around 2 months to 2 months and a half to prepare and submit the application. If we are talking about an application with investment in funds, it can be between 45 days to 2 months to submit an application, sometimes less if the client is highly engaged to the process, sometimes more if there are some delays on the client side, or availability of the funds, or also documents necessary to be issued and legalized, and sometimes can take time. So, but I would say that with the cultural investments, at least 2 months, if necessary, to open a bank account. So the advice regarding new applicants, if they should submit it now or wait. So first of all, if you want to do the golden visa, if the golden visa is something that, even considering the worst case scenario of the changes of the nationality law, if it is something that you want to proceed, do it now, of course, because a pending applicant will always be in a better position than an applicant that is waiting for the discussion about the changes to decide when to apply. So our advice is, if you are aware of the current situation, and if you are aware of the risk considering the worst case scenario, you should do it as soon as possible. If you are not comfortable with the risk of having or not a safeguard clause in these new changes within the nationality law, which means that you don't know yet if a pending applicant will be protected against the changes, then my advice is, of course, to wait. But I would never advise you to wait because there will be a new portal. That I think it does not make sense. Until now, dependents could not resubmit refresh documents due to AIMA portal error. Is there a solution for that? Could you please advise if it will only be biometric appointment for the main applicant without the dependent? So it's correct. So family members resubmissions were not open. What we did, and following the advice of the immigration services in the session held in January, they organized 2 sessions, clarification sessions, one in Oporto and one in Lisbon. And during that session, we explained that situation. And the solution was to submit the family members through the investors page. And we did that. the appointments that we already received for our here at the firm for our resubmitted clients included the family members. So I believe this is the way to act. So to submit the family members with the resubmission of the investor. Could you please clarify what happens if one misses renewal appointment with AIMA? You need to have a justified reason to not to show to an appointment. They were very clear about that. If you have a professional commitment, if you have a medical issue, then of course that your lawyer can present that justification and then request for another appointment. So let's say that someone qualifies for permanent residency after submitting the golden visa 5 years ago, but not for citizenship because of the potential change in the nationality law. Can that person later qualify for citizenship without having lived in Portugal? Yes, of course. What would the requirement be for maintaining the permanent residency, and what additional requirements, other than waiting additional 2 or 5 years, would be needed to gain citizenship? Okay, according to the proposal presented, the changes are 10 years instead of 5, and adding up to the language requirement, a civil and a culture test. These are the additional requirements. There is no further requirements regarding residing in Portugal. In what concerns the permanent residency, let's divide residency and nationality. Okay, so you can achieve the 10 years of residency with temporary residency 5 years and then another 5 years of permanent residency. As soon as you are in a position to apply for the nationality, you submit your application. For the permanent residency, the permanent residency is valid for 5 years. It's not yet clear if the same stay requirements for the temporary residency as a golden visa needs to be fulfilled for the permanent residency. That is the legal opinion that we are eager to receive from the immigration services, that we know that they are already analyzing this question to confirm if the permanent resident needs to comply with the 7-day rule per year or 14 days per 2 years. Okay, this is something that we are waiting for the legal opinion to come from the immigration services. When you refer to investor to be able to apply for permanent residency and his family temporary residency, the permanent resident would be the normal or the specific for golden visa? Okay, very good question. Regarding the permanent residency, I'm always talking about the one attached to the golden visa program. Okay, if during your golden visa planning you decide to relocate to Portugal, instead of applying to the permanent residency attached to the golden visa, you can apply for the normal permanent residency, which is different in 2 things. First of all, the fees applicable, and second of all, the stay requirements. So if you apply for the normal, let's say like that, permanent residency, you will be subject to the stay requirements as the general requirements of the law, meaning that you will no longer benefit of the exemption of living in Portugal or 7 days or 14 days for 2 years. Okay, so being a permanent resident under the normal regime means that you have, in fact, to live in Portugal, to be a tax resident, to spend the majority of your time in Portugal. Otherwise, you can have your permit cancelled if the immigration services have grounds to consider that you are beneficiating from that program, but without living in Portugal. We already have clients in our firm that instead of applying to the permanent residency under the golden visa, applied for the normal one because they are living in Portugal, and it was approved by the immigration services. So I believe that this is an option also for golden visa holders that decide to live in Portugal. What is the deadline in the Golden Visa application process to add a dependent parent to an existing application? I'm waiting biometrics still. You can always add new family members, okay, at any time. They need to follow the same procedure that the investor followed. So online application, biometrics, and final approval, but you can add new family members at any time. Thoughts on how quickly we need or should apply given the potential changes? I already replied. What are your personal feelings about whether investors have a legitimate expectation of naturalization after 5 years? I already gave my opinion in the beginning of the session. It is our opinion that there are in fact legal expectations to be protected here. Vanessa, thank you so much for this. My question, the portal. I believe you said resubmissions were filed in spring 2025, may see biometrics appointment schedule. What about new applications? So, of course, that due to the chronological order of the submissions, resubmitted applications will be treated first in what concerns new applicants, okay? Because these resubmissions are for clients that submitted the applications in 2022, 23, 24. So the immigration services will follow a chronological order. This means that new applicants will only get the biometrics as soon as they conclude the resubmissions, okay? Because they applied before new applicants. Will PAIR advocate for our investors who have not yet had the biometrics to be protected with a safeguard for the existing? Yes. Okay, so the safeguard clause that we are proposing protects not only pending applications, and when I say pending applications, I mean online pending applications, but also applicants with residency cards issued, but not yet with 5 years necessary to apply for the nationality. Do you have a lot of clients who applied in 2021, still no biometrics assigned, or worst case scenario, no pre-approval given? Based on your presentation, my goal is to get all of these people biometrics assigned by the end of the year. Correct. And yes, my answer is I do have clients in that specific situations applied November, December 2021 that unfortunately were given the one chance to schedule the biometrics in 2023. I'm not sure if you have that information, but one of the last times that immigration services invited for biometrics happened around, I believe it was mid or somewhere September 2023, and they only gave 1 week for 1 week or 15 days for applicants to come to Portugal. So I do have clients that were invited for the biometrics back then, unfortunately, and it's of course understandable that they were not able to come, and they are still waiting for the appointment to be issued. So yes, the immigration services goal is to solve all of these situations first, and then start to treat new applicants. Did you say that the dependent children qualification status was determined when their application were submitted, not at the biometrics date? Correct. At least this was the information that was shared in the meeting with AIMA, that the dependent children qualification status would be determined when the online application is submitted. But again, here, this is something I think to be always analyzed with your legal representative, because if you are going to do the Golden Visa program as a family plan, and if there are gray areas that will compromise that plan that you have, you need to be aware of that since the moment that you apply. So this is something that you really need to structure and plan with your legal representative to make sure that in the future you are able to get what you want, which is in principle nationality for all the applicants. So I assume that PER is not advocating for holding the application date as the time of the clock starts for citizenship or permanent residency. Also, PER is advocating currently for Golden Visa holders who won't yet able to submit the citizenship application. Okay, so let me clarify this. What we are advocating in terms of the nationality law are three things. Compromise with 7 years, because the 7 years was presented by the government for Portuguese-speaking countries, applicants. Sorry. To have a safeguard clause. This means that all pending applicants and clients that already granted with permits but did not reach a 5 years yet can beneficiate from the law applicable on the date of the submission. This means that you would beneficiate from the law applicable nowadays, which states that you can count 5 years from the moment that you submitted. Okay, so this is not specifically for Golden Visa holders. This is, of course, a general protection that we are proposing because we cannot discriminate. So the safeguard clause will, the goal is to protect not only pending applicants, but also applicants they are granted with a permit, but they are still in the process of getting the 5 years, okay? Can you please make your presentation available for download? Yeah, so after the we finish the webinar, I will share the link with Thomas from Nomad Gate, and then he will send to everybody that registered to attend. When do you expect finalization of the changes of the nationality law? Are you confident that PER proposals will be successful? Okay, so I believe that the two last weeks of September and perhaps the beginning of October will be the timeline for the discussion of the bill. We already went through a similar situation in 2023 when the government first of all proposed to shut down the program and then end up only to excluding the real estate. We went through the exact same situation, the exact same work to do the lobby, to contact the party. So we are doing our best. We are knocking on all doors that we are aware of in order to try to provide information, provide the consequences, and also economic impact of the program. So we are doing the same work that we did in 2023, when initially the government proposed to terminate the program. And then ultimately we managed to get the Golden Visa still valid, but without the real estate investment. So I'm quite positive, to be honest. I believe there's still room for discussion, and the decision of the Constitutional Court about the immigration law was also a very important milestone to give even more strength to the proposals that we are presenting, which is basically to protect clients that are already in the system. So there is no problem of approving a new law if that only impacts clients for the future, new applications, clients that already know what would expect from the nationality law. That, of course, is understandable, What is not is what they are trying to do, to apply these new changes to everybody, which does not make any sense. And in principle, it is against our constitutional of law. I already replied to a lot of these questions. Thank you, Vanessa, for all the information you have been giving us. It was helpful for us. My pleasure. I applied in October 2023, and January 2025, they asked me to resubmit my new documents, and I have submitted in February 2025, and I'm still waiting for biometrics appointments. This is one of the cases that I mentioned that they want to issue all the biometrics appointment until the end of the year. Okay, all resubmitted applicants. Thank you for a great presentation. My pleasure. You mentioned that one of the things PEAR is lobbying for is the proposed changes of the nationality law be only applied to new applicants. In your opinion, how likely is the government will accept or follow this advice? We are not the only ones, okay? We are one of the players and one of the associations that are lobbying for a protection for pending applicants. But again, with this decision coming also from the Constitutional Court, I believe that there is room for us to be able to share even further with the parties and the government our position about these possible changes. Okay. Then I have a lot of questions regarding a specific case, which I unfortunately cannot reply here, regarding timelines in your specific situations. So I think resubmissions, I already replied. Then I have a lot of specific questions. Is there any further information about the civics examination at this time? No. So the proposals are related only with the creation of a civil rights and a culture knowledge test. Okay, so we don't know yet how this is going to be implemented. What will be the entities competent to execute either these courses or these exams? So this is a mere proposal so far, no further developments. Do you know if they are going to extend existing GV residency cards after October 15th? Yes. So the renewal portal is already active. So I would advise applicants with expired cards to submit the renewal request, okay, which is already open also for family members. And we are receiving appointments, okay? One of the things that we are seeing a lot in terms of improvement is the issuance of the biometrics appointment for renewals, okay? Overall, 3,000 appointments are already granted because there is a political decision not to extend the validity of the documents again. So they must issue the appointment for the renewals. After 5 years of temporary residency, do we have to make the choice to choose either the permanent or to apply for citizenship? No, 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 no. Residency is one thing, the nationality is another thing. So you can always have either the renewal of the temporary residency or the permanent residency, and the application for the nationality process. As far as you know, have any of the first applicants from start of the Golden Visa program have been able to start the nationalization process? Of course, yeah, we do have already Portuguese applicants, Golden Visa applicants. That's for sure. Not only the nationality that was already granted to Golden Visa holders, but also the permanent residency granted in the meantime. We do have successful cases. This is a interesting question. So, are there conditions to renew the permanent residency of 5 years? So, as the name suggests, the permanent residency is an acquired right. So, you will acquire the right of becoming a resident in Portugal. So, you need to renew it every 5 years, and there are some formal requirements around that. But it's basically to renew the physical card. As you are a Portuguese citizen and you have an ID card that needs to be renewed every 10 years, then it's the same thing for the permanent residency. You need to renew it every 5 years because the card will get expired. Can we change from a D7 to a golden visa? Yes, you can. What needs to happen is you need to submit a golden visa, and then once approved with the biometrics appointment, we file for a petition to convert the D7 into a golden visa. And the changing from the golden visa to the D7, it is also possible as well. Why are there so many? Why are there so many resubmissions? What caused the applicants to have resubmit? Okay, there are a lot of resubmissions because there are a lot of pending applicants. And what caused the need of the resubmission is to put everything digital. So they wanted to process everything electronically. And because of the delays coming from the immigration services, a lot of documents were expired, namely criminal records. So they requested lawyers to resubmit everything and also because originally with the online application, we just needed to submit specific documentation, not everything. Because the moment to submit all the mandatory documentation was the biometrics appointment. Now they changed that understanding. So all the documents necessary to the Golden Visa application must be presented with the online application. So they requested all the documents to be submitted through the portal, not only the ones clients provided us. So we had also, as a law firm, a huge effort in getting land register certificates, Social Security non-debt declarations, tax authorities non-debt declarations. So there were a lot of documents that before were not mandatory to submit within the online application that now we submitted with the resubmission in order for the process to be complete. So there is no the goal here is that they with the biometrics appointment, the process is already approved because all the documents were presented. Okay, so this was the main argument for the resubmissions. Without getting permanent residency, can apply for the nationality. Yes, you can keep on renewing your golden visa status as a temporary residency that is granted. And as soon as you reach the 5 years, considering the law still applicable nowadays, you apply for the nationality. It's a bit worrying that Vanessa doesn't want to answer or respond the question about the GV success stories from early application. It's okay to say if it is unknown. I'm not sure what you are, Dale. I'm not sure what you are referring to, that I don't want to answer, but anything that you want to ask, I can reply. I'm not sure what is the question. A question about GV success stories from early application. It's okay to say if it is unknown. I am an immigration lawyer working in this area since end 2012. I started my career working with the Golden Visa program. So I do have clients that are already Portuguese nationals. I don't know if you have that information, but back then when the Golden Visa program was launched, the main nationality was Chinese, and Chinese are not allowed to have dual citizenship. So most of them, they want to pursue the permanent residency path. So for those, we have also a lot of success cases that clients that are already with the permanent residencies, and clients that already sold the assets that they invested, because back then, as you probably know, the main investment was the real estate investment. Okay, so I have a lot of questions about your specific um, what are not answering this question? Okay. If the nationality law in September is passed into law, how long it will take for courts to review for unconstitutionality, so give investors have a a final option. Okay. So we will have some time between the approval of the law and the law being valid and applicable, because there are some steps in between. So what will happen? Sorry, what will happen in September is a discussion at the Parliament to vote the draft that is presented by the government, and it can be something different as initially presented. The government can change the draft if they want to. Then it will go to a special committee for evaluation, and if approved, it will be sent to the president for validation as well. The president then has his options, either to exercise the veto option or to send the diploma to the Constitutional Court. And then the Constitutional Court will analyze and give the feedback. Depending on the feedback on the Constitutional Court, then the president needs to act again, and the diploma is likely to be sent back to the parliament to be amended. And then between between the starting of the discussion in mid-September until that happens, we still have some time. I'm not sure how long, because it will depend on how fast the government wants to discuss this and to vote this. But if it is something that is in the first topic of the agenda, it can be done relatively quickly, in about 2 to 3 weeks, I would say. Not a question, just to say a big thank you for your time and patience today. So my pleasure. I really think that we addressed some main topics today. I will not have time, unfortunately, to reply to all questions. I still have 100 and something questions here opened, and I'm so sorry, but it will not be possible. Anyway, if you have specific questions that it can be answered by your legal representative, please do that first. If you need any sort of clarification that we can help, feel free to reach out. If you want to become an associate, also please reach out. And hopefully this session was helpful. And the main goal, to be honest, today, and again, we thank you, Thomas from Nomad Gates, for the opportunity. I already had some webinars, but through Prime, um, this is the first time that we are here with Pear. And I must say that I believe that Nomad Gate never had this number of registrations, so it was quite a success. Unfortunately, I don't have answers to all of the questions, and I don't have solutions. But as I mentioned, the main goal here today was to um, give you some sort of reassurance that we are here. Okay, so we are on top of everything. We are doing our best to avoid negative changes in the program, to speed up the analysis, and to also to be a voice for all the applicants out there and investors. Okay, so thank you again, and I hope to see you soon in another webinar. And have a good evening. Bye bye. Thank you so much.